From the dense forests of North America in the 18th century to the beaches of Normandy in 1944, America's story is written in battles. This is the history of America's wars, 1754 to 1945. Told through the shifting lines of war on the map, the French and Indian War 1754–1763. It began in the Ohio River Valley. British colonists pushed westward, clashing with French forces and their Native American allies. A young officer named George Washington fought his first battles here. Though Britain ultimately triumphed, the war left enormous debts that would later spark new taxes on the colonies. On the map, French influence faded as Britain claimed Canada and lands east of the Mississippi. But resentment among colonists was growing. The American Revolutionary War 1775–1783. In 1775, war erupted. From Lexington and Concord to Bunker Hill, the American colonies rose against Britain. The map shows 13 rebellious colonies stretching along the Atlantic coast. The war raged from New England to the south. Washington's army endured hardship at Valley Forge, but French support turned the tide. At Yorktown in 1781, British General Cornwallis surrendered. By 1783, the Treaty of Paris recognized the United States as an independent nation, expanding territory to the Mississippi River. The War of 1812 to 1815. Only a generation later, the U.S. clashed with Britain once again, causes trade restrictions, impressment of sailors, and British support of native resistance. The war map lights up along the Canadian border and Great Lakes. American forces invaded Canada, but suffered defeats. The British burned Washington, D.C. in 1814. Even the White House went up in flames. But victories at Baltimore and New Orleans, led by Andrew Jackson, restored American pride. The Treaty of Ghent ended the war, with no territorial changes, but the United States had proven its resilience. The Mexican-American War 1846–1848. The mid-19th century saw America expanding westward. In 1846, war with Mexico erupted after disputes over Texas and borders. The map expands dramatically. U.S. troops pushed deep into northern Mexico, winning battles at Buena Vista and capturing Mexico City itself. By the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, the U.S. gained vast territories, present-day California, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, Utah, and parts of Colorado and Wyoming. This fulfilled America's manifest destiny, but also intensified divisions over slavery. The American Civil War 1861–1865. The darkest conflict in U.S. history. 11 southern states seceded to form the Confederacy. The map split into Union Blue and Confederate Gray. From Fort Sumter to Gettysburg, from Antietam to Sherman's March, the war engulfed the nation. Over 600,000 lives were lost. In 1863, Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation turned the war into a fight not only for Union, but also for freedom. By April 1865, the Confederacy collapsed. The United States was preserved, but scarred. The Spanish-American War, 1898. By the late 19th century, America turned outward. After the explosion of the USS Maine in Havana, the U.S. declared war on Spain. The map now shows battles in the Caribbean and Pacific. American forces liberated Cuba, seized Puerto Rico, and in the Pacific crushed Spain at Manila Bay, taking the Philippines and Guam. In less than 4 months, the U.S. emerged as a global power with overseas territories. World War I 1917 to 1918. In 1917, the United States entered the Great War. On the map, Europe was locked in stalemate, but fresh American troops tipped the balance. Battles like Cantigny, St. Mihiel, and the Meuse-Argonne Offensive showcased American strength. By November 1918, Germany surrendered. Over 100,000 Americans died, but the U.S. had announced itself as a major player on the world stage. World War II, 1941–1945. December 7, 1941. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. The map of war exploded across the Pacific and Europe. American forces fought island by island. Midway, Guadalcanal, Iwo Jima, Okinawa. In Europe, U.S. troops stormed the beaches of Normandy on D-Day, June 6, 1944. The map shows Allied armies pushing from west to Soviet forces from east, closing in on Berlin. By May 1945, Nazi Germany surrendered. In August, after atomic bombs fell on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan too surrendered. The United States emerged, not only victorious, but as the most powerful nation on earth. Closing narration. From 1754 to 1945, America's wars reshaped its borders, its people, and its role in the world. From a cluster of colonies to a global superpower, the story was written not just in ink, but in blood, and on battle maps that changed the course of history.